music, storytelling with Lama Surya, and music by some of the Sangha members. And then also on December 3rd, there's a masterclass, Opening the Third Ear. And you can sign up for that on the website as well. And I'll give you a link to it after we get started. So here we go. And we'll let Timo get started. Well, thank you very much.
Hey, hi, good morning. You awakening miraculous wonders. There's nothing really original. I think all combinations of words have already been said at some point. I've said that a few times, miraculous awakening wonders, and I knew I heard it somewhere, but it's Russell Brand. He always says that. So, but it's sweet because it's pretty miraculous that we are coming together. It's not a small thing at all, so I'm looking around the tiles a little bit to see you all. Switching to another page. Hi. Lots of familiar faces, some new faces. Welcome. Welcome all of you. Welcome in Lama Surya's loving space. His Sangha, he calls us together. Lots of gratitude. I've been in Lama Surya space since 2007, and I'm still deeply grateful because with him, I wouldn't be sitting here and my life wouldn't be as miraculous as it is, although everything in the long run is miraculous from the Sojin perspective. So yeah, in this Sangha, we come together for the loving collective intent of the Bodhisattva vow, right? So this is it, coming together. That's the vow in motion. And then sometimes, the best thing for the human neurology is another human. And sometimes the most difficult thing for the human neurology is another human. So on this Dharma path, a lot of the yogis' healing work is done on a cushion or by ourselves. We gaze within with ever more compassionate inquiry. And we either let things come and go, the practice of track shot, being open and spacious, or we meditated like fine ground barley flour, and we just go with the flow as the yogi or the meditator. We kind of choose, so we either do our relative work and clean it up, or we just be really spacious and let things come and go for real. But there's a certain range of healing that evolves only through relationship, through active interconnectedness. This healing has the most profound impact by having our hearts exposed and wide open to the goodness of others. So to learn trust and to foster healing. And certain strains of pain and suffering in our own heart, maybe like embarrassment or shame, which can be such a difficult mind state because we feel bad about who we are. And this type of pain can only be healed in the caring sunshine of community. Sometimes it's difficult to heal these habitual negative patterns on our own. It might take relational practice to reveal and heal some of these patterns. They can only be healed in the loving gaze of another. And since the fruition of a practice ends up being social, please notice all around your loving community. Our Sangha showing up for your healing, our healing, us just being the healing in the collective. So welcome back in this communal heart shine. So just notice the beauty of being so present as a family and immediately being a family, because this is so special, realizing that really, truly, we may be only the 1% of the planet that is starting to pay attention at this level of awareness. Not even common mindfulness anymore, but truly going like, who or what is it that is mindful? And then let's take a breath together. Just feel into it, who you are, what it is that is sitting on your seat. And then just feeling the free flow of your heart, even among a bit of a contraction. And we set the intention. That's always really important. Please remember, Lama Surya always guides to, we set the intention for the benefit of all beings. So first thing we bring to mind, why are we doing this practice? To allow the continuous purpose and resolve of this practice to be turned towards awakening. Making every moment of our practice and conscious lives express itself sincerely, vigilantly, truthfully towards that promise. So by setting that intention, it's there, always brightly, wisely saturating our awareness as an essential motivating source, and is always there to remind us why we are doing this practice. And may the blossoming of that realization put in motion the compassionate, concentric awareness waves in the mind streams of all beings, in this unified ocean of interbeingness. And then it's an encouraging flow, a motivating flow that will cause the purging of all undesirable states and the prospering of all positive mind states. And sometimes we can say the prospering of all positive mind qualities is Sangye, or the Buddha. So just sitting here as the potential of all positive mind qualities, and sitting as the master, as Lama Surya often points out, or by just bowing and saying, I bow to the Buddha on your seat, don't overlook her. That's what he says. So instead, and not kind of sitting with this intent that at some point in the future, maybe the Buddha on my seat will arise. No, the Buddha is fully present. All ingredients for your awakening are perfectly present within. So feel into that trust. It's a trust and a confidence that all ingredients for your awakening are ever present within your beingness right now. So we set our intention of our practice now, so it's not without aim or meaningless. It really has a directionality, the directionality of love, boundless love, ocean of love. As Lama often says, too early to hurry and too late to wait. So that's right now. Also, so little time to squander, yet an ocean of time to be present. So while we are having a life, we might as well be there while it happens. So this is your life. This is the beauty of the Buddha in your heart, on your seat, in your space, in your family, in your tribe. So maybe most essential in our practice is the urge to kindle curiosity within us into what is experience, what is my mind, what is my life, what is it actually like to be human? And then feeling into the incredible, beautiful tenderness of being human in its whole kaleidoscope of experience, which all wishes to be experienced, including those that are maybe sometimes so unwanted. What do I really want? And so we try to answer these ponderings in many ways, some of which make sense, some of which maybe do not. And the hope is that something resonates, that feels natural and home to our own heart and inspires a curiosity. Curiosity is always very personal. Something happens in our own heart. And from that curiosity into who am I? What is my purpose? So much goodness evolves. And from this curiosity, awareness ultimately becomes much more interested in itself than its content. And then we have to be a little careful, because then often all we wish is to transcend the movement of our life. We just wish to sit in this beautiful, radiant, spacious openness without movement. So that's what I lately have been practicing a lot and talking about. Is like Lama Surya says, clearly letting things come and go. So letting go, we're getting good at from our practice. So letting things come, right? Letting things come too. So not holding the mind too tight. So we will be playing a little bit with integration practice today. And no matter what I'm guiding, whatever you wish to practice, however you are, and you just want to be with us, and even mute me if you want, but love to feel your presence with us, do what you wish. But there's also something sweet of the collective intent and the movement that comes from it, and doing a bit of practice together, and then maybe reflecting on it and maybe absorb some of that for our practice. So these practices are maybe somewhat of a cognitive reassessment, helping us make peace with the apparent incompleteness of this moment by waking up to its fullness, or as they say in Soja, the natural great perfection. And maybe sometimes experienced just as an absence of lack, or what it would feel like if there was nothing wrong right now. Or indeed, the immaculate perspective of the master, of the fully enlightened one on your seat. What would it feel like to be fully enlightened? Let's take a breath on that. And whatever limiting belief comes up, like, well, that doesn't feel very enlightened. That just feels like me. Well, that's it. That too. And then the heart of these teachings and these practices are compassion. And please trust, confidence. You are so much closer than you think. Because anytime you think, you're nowhere near. And the moment we kind of free ourselves up from thinking, not suppressing thinking, then we are so close that sometimes it's easily overlooked. So again, really feel into that confidence that all innate ingredients for your awakening are right here, right now. So because we wish to be awakened at all times and under all circumstances, we can be doing integration practices. The last time I was here a month ago, we were first sitting in beautiful, open, awakened, luminous awareness, being boundless and open. We brought in some visualizations, and then holding on to the simultaneous perspective of the view of the open, awakened, compassionate awareness, luminous awareness, and not losing the view while the creativity of mind moves a little and creates something. Maybe calling it, sometimes I call it deliberate mind wandering or something. So, and then noticing the beauty of the creativity of our minds without letting it being veiled over or clouded over by the movement. So when we bring awakened awareness more and more into our lives, because we're not here to become excellent meditators, we come here to be awakened beings at all times and at any decibel level. At first, the light of awakened presence is fragile and easily veiled. Thoughts and emotions towards self and others have a tendency to cloud over the first hesitant baby steps of tender awakened beingness knowingly in the often dissonant and maybe even dangerous world. So that's why we do integration practices and keep it easy at first. We set the intent in a certain situation. Oh yeah, here I know I can stay present pretty much through this whole exchange. So indeed start with less challenging situations. So one of the primary differentiating characteristics between thoughts and emotions is that emotions have a strong presence in the body. And when we experience these emotions from the perspective of awakened presence, from the wide openness of boundless awareness, we come to see the actual result that the four dharmas of Gampopa and Longchenpa prayer points at. Bless and empower us that confusion itself dawns as primordial awareness. And then sometimes I play with it and I go, bless and empower us that all difficult mind states dawn as primordial wisdom. So we start to unveil and realize that all emotions are profoundly positive and perfect because primordial wisdom's intelligence is at the heart of every emotion, every difficult mind state, but I'm playing with emotion a little now. We no longer have the habitual experience of, for example, anger, but anger from this open perspective transforms or purifies into the resolve for action, for the benefit of others or to safeguard others. Other emotions, like what you might once have called anxiety or fear, becomes just a vigilant facet of awakened awareness. And then we can start to notice that our emotions are just sacred modulations of light. So I just wanted to say that because later on, we're going to be doing our practice, track shock, wide open, awake, sparklingly present, and then realizing I'm not my thoughts. And then I would like to maybe bring in a bit of an emotion and not lose the view and have that simultaneous view of a bit of an emotion, its somatic resonance, its embodiment, and the simultaneous view. And so from this practice, which is really important to realize, is that it kind of has an automaticity. Once we continue to practice, Lama Surya often calls it, once we do our Dharma practice, the thermals of the Dharma lift our wings. Right? So I at first always experienced that teaching as, oh yeah, I start to realize that the Dharma practice is good for me and I start to practice more. It's like, yeah, now I wish to practice because I feel lifted by the Dharma. But actually, once we turn kind of the child awareness towards the boundless wholeness, to the completeness of awareness, it starts gravitating to itself by itself. So there is a by itselfness, an actual automaticity of it. We just kind of step out of the way and enlightenment kind of happens by itself. And then we can, of course, get into a philosophical debate about free will and did we ever really choose to meditate? Well, we don't have to do that. But we do start, please notice that when you practice, that there's a by itselfness in there and that we being held but truly by mother awareness, the whole openness of the Dharmakaya, of luminous, illumined, boundless wholeness, just arising from our hearts, just from stepping out of the way and maybe like what they call unhooking from our difficult mind patterns. So that's kind of the sharpening of the metacognitive capacity. And then we notice immediately when awakening fades away, we catch a thought by its nose. It's like it arises, oh, I'm here. It can't catch me. So now I can choose for it to dissolve, or I can choose to meditate it like fine ground barley flour, just do I need to look into the history of this thought and this emotion? Do I have to do my relative work too? So we don't do a spiritual bypass. So we become also very meticulous about when there's a spiritual bypass or not. And then we can choose to do Western methods, whatever needs to be done, psychotherapy or any chanting practice or tantric practices, whatever we enjoy, just yoga, whatever clears up the strictures in the body. So we become a complete package as the yoga on your seat, with its whole range of possibilities of healing ever available. So at first we do it on the cushion, and then we take our metacognitive capacity off the cushion, and in difficult situations in life we go like, oh yeah, here I am. No reactivity here. I'm open and I'm loving and I welcome all beings right here in my space. And from that perspective, what can I be for you? So please right now be the presence of empty, luminous, loving awareness, knowingly, right now. Robert, would you please put the prayer book up with the 4 immeasurable aspirations? Thank you. Thank you. May all beings possess happiness and the inner causes of happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and the inner causes of suffering. May all beings remain undivided from the sacred joy, which is free from suffering. May all beings come to rest in great peace and equanimity, beyond attachment and aversion to friends, enemies, or strangers. And the 4 dharmas. Bless and empower us that our minds and hearts turn toward the Dharma. Bless and empower us that our Dharma practice becomes the path. Bless and empower us that the path truly dispels confusion. Bless and empower us that confusion itself dawns as primordial awareness. Bless and empower us that sadness itself dawns as primordial compassion. Bless and empower us that anger itself dawns as primordial awakened alertness. Bless and empower us that all difficult mind states dawn as the primordial expression of the loving Buddha on your seat. And please, the 7-line supplication on page 1. So even right here is integration practice. See, let's take a breath. Come into the view of being the presence of awareness knowingly, and habituate moving your voice straight from awakened awareness, not filtered through, oh, I don't really like singing, or I don't enjoy my voice so much. Who cares? Any resonance of your voice are the flowers of the Buddha heart, just resonating in the space for the healing of all. Orjin Yuljin Upchansam Pe Margezar Dong Bola Yatsun Choki Nyu Rupnye Pe Majung Ne Jezudra Kordu Kandro Mang Pokor Keki Jezudar Drupki Jinji Lapshir Shek Suso Guru Pemai Suri Oma 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 Hung Benzar Guru Pemai Suri Om Ahum Benzargu Pe Mai Suri Hum. 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 Om. Notice the sound dissolving into the same space in which our thoughts, feelings, emotions, and perceptions arise and dissolve, arise and dissolve. The same space, a whole life arises and dissolves. The silence being the spaciousness of sounding, not just hearing the silence, but being the silence. Unlike regular silence, this silence has a knowing quality. Not only hearing into the boundless spaciousness, but gazing into the boundless spaciousness too, either with the eyes closed or open. Brighten your mind, open up your heart. Relax your awareness from the content of experience and ease into the open and silent space of awareness itself. It's a relaxation of attention, a returning or sinking of the mind back into the open space of boundless freedom. The returning of awareness to itself, the knowing quality, the being aware of being aware. The returning of awareness to itself is a remembrance and celebration of itself. This knowing space, this awareness is so obvious that it's mostly overlooked, so near and familiar that it cannot be experienced as a thing, but still is continually known. It's so intimate that every experience, no matter how minute or immeasurably enormous, is completely saturated with its presence. So wide open, even loving, so that unconditionally everything is welcomed by it. It's so expansive and boundless that everything arises within it. And it's so luminous that every single experience or appearance is pulsating with its essence. Being the presence of awareness knowingly equals love. Being illumined with love. Notice that awareness is not so confined to the boundaries of your anatomy. It's from the heart. Allow awareness to arise and maybe come out of the eyes or the local sphere of awareness, apparent sphere of awareness, and just flow out and saturate the space all around with the knowing of being. As Lama Surya says, space mingling. Mingle your awareness into the open space and mingle the open space into your awareness. Now spacious awareness saturates everything. Please establish that this space of awareness does not shift or change. It's invariable and not subject to time. Please notice that awareness is indeed without bound, limitless, and expands into all directions like a boundless sphere. Yet always right with us, always right with us. Don't let any limiting beliefs get in the way of your boundlessness. Just flow out beyond the boundaries of your room, visual space, gazing from being much more than from the sense gates. Awareness revealing itself to itself. Like Milarepa said, like an ocean of infinite awareness delighting in its own waves. So maybe dare to let things come a little bit, staying within the view of the openness of awareness while feeling what it feels like to be you without particularizing, more just that one overview, one complete overview, feeling into. Thoughts are awareness. Feelings are made of the fabric of awareness. Emotions are awareness. Sights are awareness. Sounds are awareness. When a thought or its acoustics, emotions and feelings arise, when they arise in the sphere of boundless presence, boundless loving presence, they don't have a seductive quality and they can pull us off our seat. But if you were pulled off already, just bring it back lovingly, welcomingly. Not so much listening into the spaciousness, silence of the mind, or gazing into the spaciousness of the visual field, but the field of beingness. And then not gazing into it, but being the boundless field of wholeness. So the whole world is arising in my heart, in my sphere of being. So indeed, allow a little bit of your apparent personal identity, the beautiful playfulness of the uniqueness of the Buddha in your seat to arise without letting it cloud over your perfect presence. Most often in the Western personal identity, a bit of a nervousness in the heart region, or maybe a little bit of sadness or loneliness, whatever is kind of shimmering today in the story, the beautiful story told of your life. And notice it, notice its embodiment without contracting into it or telling a story about it. And notice that all feelings and emotions, that when we feel them in our bodies, are just more of a contraction or an energy. And that often they share the same emotion for a similar feeling in the body. We just tell a different story about it. So if it's a little bit of nervousness, notice it's just the call to be alert. And now let's take a beautiful breath together. Whatever that feeling is in your body, just experience it as a modulation of light or a ray of light that we can transform, purify, and then use and aim for the expression of compassionate wisdom, for the well of inspiration, of skillful means. Just please feel that our body and the manifest movement within it, and the little bit of difficult mind states that arise from it are just wishing to be seen and be ultimately expressed as compassion. So then whatever arises within, we say to it all, welcome. Like whatever appears from now on, we let arise as if we wished for it. Because we did. It wished to be experienced. So let's take another breath together. Let go of all visualizations and feeling intos and just flow out into openness again. Fade any scene that arose, just open, luminous presence. Just gazing into the space, being the space. Now maybe the one deliberate thing we can let arise, kind of a promise that we try to be awakened in every moment of our lives. So live our lives from this space. So this is your reference point with its own momentum. Don't have to do anything. It will start arising more and more. And when we remain in this wide, open, compassionate perspective, we end up experiencing all things as beauty and all beings as love. And our own hearts and minds become our refuge. And the natural wish for all beings to be knowing this space arises. As Lama Surya would say, perhaps the highest, the most profound aspiration the human mind has ever conceived. And then we develop something maybe you could call heart sight, referencing our boundless illumined heart whenever someone enters our realm. And indeed, the only thing our heart wishes to say then is, what may I be for you? Thank you so much for coming to this space, and notice everyone around you reaching out from their hearts. What may we be for you? And thank you for that same well wish received with great gratitude. On behalf of all beings, I wish to thank you for your beautiful, meticulous practice. And Robert, can you please open the prayer book? And I don't know the page numbers. The Kewadi Nurudak, it's later. It's right before, yeah, there. Oh no. The Sochen prayer. Look at all that wisdom flowing by. Yeah, no, one more. That's the one, thank you. Oh, that's what it's called, thank you. Dedication of virtue to complete realization. I promise to be more prepared. Gewa diyi nurdu dak dzokpa chempo drup gyurnye droa chikyang malupa deyi sala gopar shok. Through this virtue, may we swiftly realize and fully embody the natural great perfection, and ever bring all, without exception, to its complete realization. And then the one below it, please, bodhicitta, dedication. Jangchup semchok rinpoche, makye panam kye gyurchik, kye panyam par me padyam, gongne gongdu pelvar shok. May the pure, brilliant sun of bodhicitta dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness of suffering and confusion unstoppably until all are illumined and awakened. Let's do the path clearing, which is a bit above it, I think. Yep. Du sum sangye guru rinpoche Nundrup kundak deva chempoja Barche kunsel dudu drakpotsel Sova depso jinji lab tu so Chinang Sangwe Barche Jivadang Sampalunji Drupajinji Lord. Precious guide, one with all the Buddhas of the three times, blissful presence and source of all spiritual accomplishments. Fierce destroyer of illusion who dispels every obstruction, we pray to you for blessing, inspiration, and realization. Please remove all outer, inner, and secret obstacles and spontaneously fulfill our aspirations. The New Millennium Prayer, please. May all beings everywhere with whom we are inseparably interconnected and who want and need the same as we do, may all be awakened, liberated, healed, fulfilled, safe, and free. May there be peace and harmony in this world and an end to war, violence, poverty, and hunger, inequality and oppression, greed and cruelty, pandemics, famine, droughts, earthquakes, all kinds of natural disasters. May all be free from fear, harm, danger, anxiety, and insecurity. And may we all together complete the spiritual journey, one beloved community, one circle, one family, heart to heart, lovingly, all the way home. Thank you, thank you. Love you very much. That's it for the book. Hey, everyone. Thank you for being with us so much. And we have a few minutes, so if you would maybe wish to mention something about your practice or realizations or the lack of them, or any questions, that would be really helpful for all.
Yeah, Timo, I do have a question here for you. This is from Timo. Timo says, privately, I would like the teacher to speak about self-loathing. I practice for everyone, but can't let go of my self-hate, and it hurts people. I would like to help some. I would like to get some help. So the issue of self-loathing. If you have any thoughts about that?
Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing that. That's very courageous. And I feel for the pain in your heart. And I'm also sad that you overlook the beauty of who you are, because at this moment, and I hope that you have a little bit of an experience of the beauty in your heart, like it can be, there's a bit of a simultaneous thing. We can still feel all the difficulties of our psychology arise. That's why I was kind of playing with like a little carefully with like softer emotions, and you have a very quite strong arising of what you call self-loathing. And so then indeed, if that's something that arises really strongly, then sometimes we can meditate this, we have to be really careful for what I said earlier, spiritual bypass. So if that is something that really arises a lot in you, then the first help is you on your seat. So you can do so spiritual bypass would be to just kind of go, I can get past this self-loathing by just dissolving it. But if it just keeps arising back into my life, then ultimately, there's a bit of trauma there involving inspiring it, making it arise. So sometimes then there are maybe first Western methods like psychotherapy or something might still be something that would be really helpful. And you bring it into the space is like very healing for all, because we all have like doubts about our practice and about our purpose in the world. And then when we from the regular scientific mindfulness perspective, if we just keep thoughts flow, being inspired from a mind state like that, or in general, when we allow thoughts to just flow freely, there's a tendency for them to have a negative bias, right? So it's just a story. It's just a story that's arising, but it's easy for me to say because you're sitting at the heart of that pain, and it's so vivid and so real, and it's quite possibly inspired by something that is very real. So I realized that. And I embrace you, you know, I just wish to hold you. And we all are holding you right now in this space. And we all recognize it up to a certain point, although we all are so unique in our beauty and our pain. And the pain ultimately being something beautiful. May your self-loathing arise as, you know, the compassionate wisdom for all others that feel loathing. And may you become the healing of that, inspired by this loathing. Easier said than done in this moment. So so from the perspective of the teachings that we do, then this sounds pretty intense. And then I would say meditate it like fine ground barley flour, and you really get at the heart of it and look, where does this come from? What's the inspiration? What's the history of it? Is this the loathing of my family? Is this the loathing of my parents? Is this my own thing that I started creating? Is this my tribe? Whatever it is a combination of all those things. So you can become more informed just from your own heart space, and then maybe the main thing that may arise, yes, I need help. Maybe you do need help, right? And there are people that are very skilled and trained to help, or the Sangha will help, or you will help by promising to really be with your loathing if it's not too traumatic and knocking you off your balance in your life. Then I would say do some of the practices that we are talking about in these spaces and that Lama Surya talks about, and other profound teachings of the Dharma and books. So there is a whole world available for your healing, but I do not know the true measure of your pain. And I just want you to be really honest about it. And I'm also available. So if you wish to reach out to me one-on-one, we can talk about it. And there are others in this space you maybe know or get to know. Come back with us if you're not, you know, we're always here to hold you in this space. And so, yeah, thank you, Carol. So Rain is a real mindfulness training in which you can deal with whatever comes up. Okay. Tara, let's see, Carol, can you what does Rain stand for again? I should know. I studied some mindfulness. I can't remember what it stands for. But read the book by Tara Brach, and there are so many books that are dealing with difficult emotions.
Thank you so much, Timo. That was really great. I appreciate your help and leading this meditation and your teachings. This is really helpful. Thank you. I think that's all the time we have, all that we have time for today. I just like to mention that if you'd like, please feel free to leave a donation on Dzogchen Center website. There's a place there for donations. There's also an opportunity to sign up for membership. And if you do sign up for membership in the next few weeks, you can sign into the member only event on November 29th. With music and storytelling with Lama Surya. So thank you everyone for joining us. This is really great. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you, everyone. Be with you soon.